guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do another women's health video. I have actually filmed this one. I filmed it before and I didn't love how I had it. I don't know, like trying to edit it and cut things out. It was kind of just like weird and a little messy and I didn't want it to come off that way. I want it to be clean, simple, you guys can get it easily. So I'm gonna film it again. Here we are. This is going to be, obviously by the title, period signs and symptoms you don't want to ignore. For this video, I'm not going to go in depth on potential outcomes, on diseases, on abnormalities. I don't think that is helpful. Obviously, a lot of these signs and symptoms can lead to all kinds of things, but that's not the goal of this. This is really just to, if you're kind of in the place where you've never really looked into it before, you've never done any kind of research, this is something you can kind of see like, oh, notice that you have that sign or symptom, and then let's like look into it further. So I'm not gonna scare you. I'm not gonna go into all the possibilities that you could have or anything like that. That's just not the point of this. So we are going to jump right into this. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like it and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first symptom you don't ignore is a skipped or missed period. So that's something, also pause, I keep forgetting this part, but disclaimer if you are on any kind of hormonal birth control, the IUD, the Nexplanon, any oral contraceptives, honestly, any of it, this doesn't really apply to you because those hormones will affect your body in different ways. This is just for a normal woman who is menstruating as a body would. So yeah, that's just something to watch for. There are several people out there who do skip or miss periods, or they'll, will skip a few months before having one, or they will only have one like twice a year. That's not typically normal. So that's just something to watch for. I know a lot of the times you hear with sports that women will skip periods or just miss them for a while, and that's pretty normal. It has to do with the hormones in your body at the time of activity. It just happens sometimes. But if you are not super active, if you're not in a sport, that is something I would watch for and maybe reach out to your healthcare provider just to search what's going on in your body, if there's anything you can do to kind of get back onto a more normal cycle. So the next one is heavy bleeding. You do not want to be bleeding heavily. This is something I have kind of learned as I've gotten older. I think back in high school, I would have people who would have like these crazy heavy periods and they'd be bleeding for days and have to switch out their tampon every hour or so. That is crazy. That is actually absolutely crazy. We should be bleeding on average about 2.7 ounces an entire period. That is like a whole week long period, you should only be bleeding 2.7, which is not a lot. So that's something to watch for if you feel like you're having to change, pad or tampons often. If you notice some of these other signs as well as heavy bleeding, that's definitely something I would check on because it's just really not that normal. So the next one is abnormally short or abnormally long periods. So this is another thing. I feel like you hear like, oh, everyone has different periods. You shouldn't. You should have between a 4 and 7 day period. Obviously, some people are on the lower end of that and some people are on the higher end, but if you're bleeding 1 day, that's not right. If you're bleeding 10 plus days, that is definitely not right. So just like kind of gauge where you're at with that. If you kind of fall in between that average, then that's totally cool. But if you don't, maybe just like kind of check in with your doctor, see if there's anything else going on, because that sign does not lead to a normal menstruation. Okay, so the next one is intense cramping. This one is also very interesting to me. I remember in high school having friends who would be like out flat, laying with ice packs, calling out of school sick because they just like couldn't move. That is wild, okay? So that's kind of what they say, like if you are not able to do your normal daily activities, brush your teeth, get out of bed, check the mail, whatever. If you can't do those things, then there's probably a problem there because you should be able to function as you would even when you're menstruating and you are cramping. Cramping is normal, just not to that extent. So the next one is bleeding between periods. This one is definitely something to watch. I know for me, when I was on hormonal birth control, I struggled with having periods in between all my periods, and that was because of the hormones. But if you have a normal cycle and you're starting to bleed within the times that you're supposed to be menstruating, there's something going on there. So I would definitely check in with a healthcare provider if that is where you're at, because that's just not a normal symptom within your menstruation periods. So the next one is breast pain. I will say that obviously our breasts get very sensitive during menstruation, before PMSing, after, all that good stuff. That's totally normal. Sensitivity is completely normal and nothing to be afraid of. But I will say if you start to feel pain, if you start to feel lumps, if you start to feel some hard knots in your breast, then you should definitely get that checked. Actually just got a breast exam and I even as a birth doula, I don't know, it's not really my field, but I didn't really know exactly how to do them. I've seen them before. I've seen, you know, the flyers of them. I've heard of them, but I guess just because I'm younger and I haven't really needed to, well, I should need to. That's not what I meant. Everyone should be doing them. I just never really had done it myself before. And so I had the doctor actually show me how to do it, and it was very helpful. And it's something they actually don't do very often anymore, because I realized when I had my pap smear, they never actually did a breast exam. And I was like, that's really interesting. But it's really just because they're finding that obviously less people have masses in their breasts and more people are learning how to do it. You should definitely be doing, if you aren't already, just every month or so, just kind of checking in to see what the state of your breasts are, if there is anything that you need to be concerned about. But for the most part, you should be good to go. The next and final one is diarrhea and vomiting. So obviously, diarrhea and vomiting is a sign for all kinds of things. Like, I feel like it's for about everything that you can think of. And it's like, okay, of course, that's a side effect, but also it's something where you can tell something's obviously not right. So if you're finding yourself vomiting on your period, off your period, having a lot of diarrhea, that's something you should just watch. And if it's happening more than, a day, you should definitely get it checked, because you don't want to be losing that much fluids. That means something's not right in your body. So just check for that if that's kind of where you lay. That's all I have. So those are pretty much the main ones. If you look these up yourself, you will probably find the majority of them to look just like this. But I figured I would make a video just so you guys can hear it, so you guys can understand what those kind of mean. But again, I'm not gonna go through any of the possibilities out there that could happen. This is just to kind of give you upfront information. And then after this, if you have these signs or symptoms, then look into them further. Maybe talk to your doctor, see what that could be or what it could lead to if you are concerned. But if not, I would not start Googling things and freak yourself out, because that never helps. So those are things that you should watch for. This was also one of those videos that wasn't too crazy, because I still want to get into the basics before we kind of pick it up with some of the more personal things or the more in-depth things. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!